Hello and welcome to today's episode of Coaster News. And as always, we've got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's just get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight, Hersheypark have announced Wildcat's Revenge, which is a brand new RMC conversion of their former Wildcat roller coaster for 2023. And this was heavily rumoured for a very long time. I think it's been rumoured for a good number of years now. But if you know what I'm talking about, basically, Wildcat was a GCI wooden roller coaster located at Hersheypark in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It was actually the first roller coaster that GCI, Great Coasters International, had ever built. It was a wooden roller coaster. It was opened in the 80s at Hersheypark, and earlier this year, Hersheypark actually announced that the ride would be closing on the 31st of July after years of operation. I think it's because it reached the end of its service life. So it's been operating for a very long time. It's the classic wooden coaster because it's literally GCI's first ever roller coaster. This is the same company that built the likes of Wicker Man, Alton Towers, and things like that. And obviously, the rumour of an RMC conversion of this wooden roller coaster has actually been rumoured for a couple of years at this point, but ever since they announced the closure of Wildcat in July, which has been closed ever since, it got even more, the rumour spread even more like wildfire, honestly. And actually, early this week, Hersheypark made a surprise announcement to say that, well, I think it's a surprise, I'm not sure if they've already started building it, but I'm pretty sure it was a surprise announcement to say that they're now going to convert this into an RMC and rename it Wildcat's Revenge. It's going to be 140 feet tall, 62 miles per hour. It's going to have 4 inversions, and it's going to be a very amazing ride. It's going to have the world's largest underflip inversion, which is going to be very unique. The world's largest underflip inversion. So that's going to be amazing. And it looks like an absolutely incredible ride. Obviously, it's not the tallest or fastest RMC in the world. It's also going to have an 82-degree drop. So unlike all of the recent RMCs which have tried to break massive world records with like the world's biggest hybrid coaster and things like that, this one is not trying to do that, but instead it's trying to pack in just as thrilling a ride as possible. Obviously, big RMC coasters like hyper hybrids like Iron Gwazi and Steel Vengeance and Zadra do that. But this ride seems to be more focused on the layout rather than the heights and the records of it. So obviously, earlier this year we got Iron Gwazi, which is a brand new hybrid coaster that opened in March, and that took the title for North America's tallest hybrid coaster, because it's actually tied with the world's tallest hybrid coaster, Zadra, at 206 feet tall. It also took the world record for the fastest and steepest hybrid coasters in the world. I believe it's 76 miles per hour and has a 91-degree drop, so it's actually beyond vertical. Obviously with this, it's not actually come anywhere close to Iron Gwazi, but however, it still looks like an incredible ride, and it looks so unique, a very unique layout. Obviously, a lot of the RMCs have very unique layouts. They're so thrilling. Apparently, they're some of the best coasters in the world, and it looks to be adding to the lineup of RMC roller coasters opening next year. Because I believe the newest RMC roller coasters that are opening next year are this and Air Force One, which at Fun Spot Atlanta, which was supposed to open this year, but construction has literally, they only started vertical construction earlier this year, and I think the layout is almost complete. But unless Fun Spot Atlanta is a year-round park, I don't think they're going to get it open this year, because it's literally November. This year ends next month. That's actually insane to think. How quick has this year gone? Honestly, it's insane. But I think Air Force One is definitely going to open next year, alongside. But can it be better than Wildcat's Revenge, which is this brand new hybrid conversion coaster? Unlike Air Force One, which is built from the ground up, a completely new layout that we've never seen before, Wildcat's Revenge is literally taking the original structure from the original Wildcat wooden roller coaster and converting it into a much more exciting layout with steel track as well, because obviously a lot of hybrid coasters have steel track but wooden supports, hence the name hybrid coasters. And it looks absolutely incredible. Apparently the ride is also going to contain 3 trains, but all the trains have like custom like vinyls on them and different like theming on each train, so each train looks different. Obviously they've put a lot of thought and attention into this, and I cannot wait for this ride to open. It's very a unique RMC hybrid coaster and it looks amazing. In other news today, Alton Towers have revealed more details regarding their final day of operation for Nemesis. And obviously, we kind of all saw this coming. They had to release some sort of like statement about it eventually. But recently, Alton Towers released further details about what's going to happen on the last day of operation for Nemesis before it closes for a retrack and reopens in 2024. So the rides, basically, they're going to make it so that the queue line for the ride will close at, actually, I think they said the queue was going to close at 9 p.m. or I think the queue line the ride will cease operation at 7 p.m. I'm not actually sure. But obviously, it was either 7 or 9 p.m. that the queues were going to close. They will have. They're saying they're going to have like biohazardous substances around the ride, which we don't know what that means, but it's very cryptic. But could we have some like additional like interactive theming or something different, like something that they have to build to add to the ride for the final day? I mean, I've not heard anything, but it could just be like they could have like live actors and an immersive experience around the attraction. We never know. But they also stated that at 7:30 on Sunday, which is obviously the final day of operation, the Phalanx will make a public announcement. Now, they haven't said what this announcement is. Obviously, the Phalanx is a fictional organisation within a Nemesis storyline, mainly around Nemesis Subterra. They're making a public announcement just after the firework display on Sunday. So, this is very interesting. I mean, I'm not sure what they could possibly... I've got an idea. It's going to be Nemesis Subterra, right? It can't not be Nemesis Subterra, surely. They've been working around all of that attraction all year now, especially recently, where they've literally ripped up all the flooring around the queue line of the attraction to replace it with a new one, because the old one was rotting, and they wouldn't replace it to make it safe if it was abandoned, like we were led to believe for the past few years. Plus, they've already announced that the ride is going to... We already know it's going to reopen in 2024. It goes in for a retrack. A lot of the public kind of knows that as well, because it was on BBC News the other day. They literally said it was going to be for a renovation and will reopen in a couple of years. So, we already know about the retrack and the fact that it's closing. So, the only other thing I can think of is that it's something to do with Subterra. That would only make sense. Unless they've announced that, like, when it reopens, it's going to be... have new additional theming or something. I'm not sure, but considering they said it's going to be the Phalanx announcing it themselves, that suggests it's going to be a themed announcement on, like, in public, like, just after the fireworks, presumably on the front lawn. So it'll probably be like a themed sort of announcement to say that Nemesis Subterra's reopened. I mean, that would only make sense. Especially since if Subterra doesn't reopen next year, the only operating Nemesis we will have is Nemesis Inferno at Thorpe Park. And Nemesis Inferno is nowhere near as good as the original Nemesis. I'm actually thinking in like probably about a decade's time, Nemesis Inferno will be up for a retrack, if obviously Thorpe Park wanted to continue operating. Obviously Nemesis Inferno at Thorpe Park isn't as popular as the one at Alton Towers, so I'm not sure, but it's a newer B&M invert, unlike Nemesis. That was one of the first ones ever built. Nemesis Inferno was built over a decade, well, just under a decade later, and probably has slightly more advanced technology. I'm not sure how it works, but we're going to find out in like 10 years time. But anyway, they're going to make a public announcement on the front lawn just immediately after the fireworks display at 7:30. So we don't know what it's going to be about. Obviously, apparently the queue lines, obviously they said might close early due to popular demand, because this ride is going to be absolutely rammed on the final day. It's going to be rammed tomorrow as well on Saturday. Well, I'll obviously be there filming as much of the ride as I possibly can. At the time of recording this, tomorrow will actually be my final time riding Nemesis. As well as a lot of other people's final ride until it reopens in its current physical form. Now we know it's going to get retracked, but what else about the ride could change? Because it's a big investment, and they're really like teasing it a lot with like the Phalanx and all the cryptic messages. I'm not sure. I don't think we'll probably get any like additional theming or anything like that, but I think it will just be a retrack and new trains as well, because the whole purpose of this retrack is to give it new trains, and obviously to make it so it lasts a lot longer, like a lot extending its service life. But it's going to be really sad to see the ride go. I wonder what the Phalanx are going to announce after the fireworks on Sunday. It will likely be Subterra, and I cannot wait for the Nemesis to reopen. Also in the news today, Project Exodus at Thorpe Park has now been fully officially approved by the Secretary of State. And this is honestly brilliant news. And obviously, if you saw the one I did a few weeks ago for Coaster News, I reported that they had been approved by the Runnymede Borough Council. However, it was back then the environmental agency still objected to it. So rather than being fully officially approved, they sent the plans to the Secretary of State to officially approve it, the plans for it. And within I believe it was a few days ago, it was on Tuesday, I believe, they had announced that the Secretary of State had found no issues with the plans whatsoever and officially approved the construction for Project Exodus. And that is honestly going to be so exciting. I'd imagine right now, or within the next few weeks, construction might start, or land clearing of that whole area. So obviously, fans have said goodbye to Creek Freak Massacre, because that was probably the only operating attraction in that area within all of this season, and that was literally a scare maze. It only operated in October. Obviously, it's going to sad to see the maze go, but I'd rather have a permanent roller coaster in that site than a scare maze that only opens like 1 month a year. So obviously it's going to be an absolutely incredible Project Exodus. Obviously that whole site has been closed off all year. They've removed all the rides in that area. They didn't get rid of anything else. They just got rid of the rides. Obviously Rocky Express has been completely retired. Lumber Jump got relocated to another area of Thorpe Park and got rebranded to High Striker. And Timber Tugboat got relocated to Chessington for the new Shipwreck Coast area, which is now operating as Trawler Trouble. And obviously, so basically all the rides were removed. The only things that were in that area was the Curly Fries stands, some theming, and obviously Creek Freak Massacre. And Loggers Leap, which has been closed for about 6 years now, it's still standing there, abandoned. That whole, obviously the ride station building was used for Creek Freak Massacre since 2019. But now that's going to be completely demolished. The whole site is going to be flattened just so they can build Project Exodus. The funny thing, right, is that the whole site, literally the whole site of where Old Town is literally just being used for the station and the first pre-lift hill section. The rest of the ride is going to be behind that over a lake, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be so spectacular and breathtaking to see. We're finally getting a new roller coaster to take the title for the UK's tallest, and a new hyper coaster. It's quite rare in this country because we've only got 2 roller coasters that go over 200 feet. The big one at Blackpool and Stealth. This is going to be absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait for Project Exodus to open in 2024. And finally in the news today, and this is very interesting news, we did not expect this, Chessington have submitted, they've announced a public consultation for a brand new water park, an indoor water park. And this is just completely out of the blue. We did not know this was going to happen. But recently, within the last sort of few days, Chessington revealed that they're going to have a public consultation on the 16th of November this year to reveal plans for a brand new indoor water park, which they've never done before. And this is very amazing, brilliant news. It's once again, millions seem to be really, really investing into Chessington right now. Because literally last year they got Croc Drop, brand new heavily themed flat rides. Earlier this year they refurbished all of the Pirates Cove area into Shipwreck Coast, added some new rides into that area with, once again, heavy theming. Next year they're adding World of Jumanji and the new B&M launched Wing Coaster, which is going to be a world's first, and as well as over 2 other flat rides. Also a heavily themed area, so a lot of money. Plus they're adding a new indoor water park, which is would probably count as a completely different attraction outside of the main park on its own. So that is brilliant. It's probably the biggest investment since, I don't know, they've never really made an investment like a water park before. Probably since World of Jumanji, because obviously they've only just announced the planning consultation, the public consultation. So it's probably not going to open until probably around 2024 or 25 earliest, because literally these things take a while to sort out. Like Project Exodus, obviously, bearing in mind that ran into like planning troubles with like the Environmental Agency and Natural England, that took about 11 months to get fully approved. Obviously, like World of Jumanji didn't take as long. It only took about for like 6-7 months, if that, maybe a bit longer to get fully approved. I'm not sure. I mean, they've never really done anything like this. The only other water park and in Merlin theme parks is obviously Alton Towers Splash Landings, and it's actually great to see that they're investing in a water park in the London down south area, because there aren't really a lot of water attractions down south, apart from obviously the water rides in Chessington and Thorpe Park, but there's no like individual visitor attraction based solely in like water attractions. So it's going to be great to see a new water park opening at Chessington World of Adventures within the next few years. So that is it for this week's episode of Coaster News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We'd like to see you in the next video. Bye.